Hello, everyone.
This is the Tiff and Jack Show, a podcast devoted to helping you dump the overwhelm and live the happy. Today is episode 24. What is the meaning of life? Or the meaning of life, what is it really? Either way, it's all the same question.
Right.
And we plan on answering that for you today. And just as we start, know that our meaning for our life will not be your meaning for your life, but we will get to the bottom of why we're all alive. Why are we all really here?
Yep. So, should we talk about our week?
It's
been kind of
crazy week.
It's been kind of fun.
Nursing a bit of a hangover today because we went to a wild, fun party last night with awesome friends and people. And, you know, sometimes I just wonder to myself, is it because of my age that a hangover feels so bad sometimes? And I'm sure you may have a great remedy for a hangover. If you do, why not just shoot me a little email, info@tiffandjack.com.
I bet someone will.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And
hey, maybe, because we went to breakfast this morning with one of our kids, our son, Anders. And I had a Bloody Mary. I only drank about half of it, but I have heard that when you have a hangover, just have a little bit of alcohol in the morning and it fixes the issue. So maybe that's why I don't feel as crappy as you do.
Lucky you. Just so you know, I am Jack when you hear my voice.
And this is Tiff, the one that sings through the podcast.
That would be a great podcast. Maybe we should do a singing podcast.
Oh.
An entire episode dedicated to song.
Oh, dear.
We sing our message.
That would be interesting.
That'd be ridiculous. It'd be really bad.
Yeah, we've just had kind of an eventful week this week with some funny things.
We've really have. That has something to do with the belt.
Oh, are we going to share that?
Not yet.
Now?
Not yet.
Okay.
We'll entice our listeners to keep listening because they want to know what Tiff was doing with the belt.
And you know what is, when we share this stuff, you know, today we're talking about the meaning of life. What is it really? We just share our life and the meaning that we're having, you know, the meaning that we have created for our life. And it's just pretty interesting because everyone has such a different take on everything.
Totally.
And we're always in conversation, aren't we? Like we're always in conversation, discussing new things. Jack and I are always reading another book just to get people's take on life. And we know that the more we open up to learning, the more we are able to share with our clients and on our podcast. So, you know, we have some pretty interesting experiences. And my dear friend just said, never, ever a dull moment with Tiff and Jack.
There really isn't. We do spend a lot of hours with people because when we're doing our life coaching with our clients, we're listening to them talk about the things that are getting in the way of them having a meaningful life or a life that feels really good to them. Mm-hmm. So not only do we have our own experience, but we have all of the experience of our clients to really stop and ponder about what is the meaning of life? What are we all looking for really underneath it all? And, you know, that brings me to, I know last week's podcast, the events that took place in Charlottesville, Virginia, with the KKK white supremacists,
the neo-Nazi
and the
stuff.
death that occurred. It was just a disastrous weekend. And as our take on all of that, ultimately, what recourse do any of us have? It comes down to loving each other. And to do that, we have to love ourselves. The only thing that causes events and hatred is fear. It's fear of the unknown. It's being raised a certain way to think about people in a fucked up way and thinking that we need to do something horrible to make them go away. But ultimately, we're here to have joy, every single person, and to fucking love each other. And learning how to do that, I'm a trans man, being a transgender person, I guess you could call me being pushed out in the margins, right? Being marginalized. I choose to live my life very loud and very clear and not holding back who I am. But there's no point in pushing anyone aside because we don't understand each other.
Ugh.
And that's what's happening. We have a take or an idea of what it means to be this color, this race, this, and it's all bullshit.
Oh, it's just
we all
fucking-
want
it's
the same.
fucking ridiculous.
It is.
Honestly. Okay, I just need to share. I have zero, and I mean zero, understanding of this bullshit. And, you know, I can't even say I appreciate where people are coming from on both sides, because I don't. I don't appreciate rejection. I don't appreciate exclusion. I don't appreciate racism. I don't appreciate superiority issues. I don't appreciate chauvinism. I don't appreciate a lot of things. I do understand that they exist, and I'm not the kind of person to bury my head. I'm not a big news watcher. I do manage my energy in a certain way so that I create the kind of life I want. But when I did see all the news stuff on this, the first thing I did was got on Facebook and just called all the light workers and healers to join me in sending energetic waves of light and love toward Charlottesville. And I was at the gym, honestly, and I was on the treadmill, and I could just feel this energy of what was going on in this country. And it just made me feel yucky. And I do not understand. I can tell you, every white supremacist believing person, if they were to spit in a tube and have their DNA tested, they would come back with the results of having in their DNA the very people that they say they hate and they are not like. And I just cannot believe that we are still on a planet that has to deal with this shit. I cannot fucking believe it. And I feel very passionate about it today, just talking about it right here. And if I'm coming across strong, it's really my way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I do believe that we are moving away from this. I don't believe that this is perpetuating more and more. But these experiences are happening when death happens and things like that. It can be very, very disconcerting, very upsetting to the core of many of us. But one thing I am seeing is the there was a very large group in Charlottesville having a candlelight ceremony for the woman that died. And what that does is it brings awareness and it brings compassion back into the experience. It also brings in hope for better. And so, you know, she died, but her death is not going to go away forgotten or in vain. And
nor will all the deaths that have come over the years in all the countries of the world.
I know.
What it really comes down to, as I've thought about it, ultimately, the only recourse any one of us has is to work on changing ourselves. Wherever we're excluding other people, or, you know, really take a look and identify, you know, am I being racist? Am I being sexist? Am I being this? Am I being that? Am I encouraging that? So within your own realm, within you, shift and change that. Get in the conversation with lots of people from lots of different places so you can learn and grow and understand more about the people that feel like they're different than yourself.
And I do believe that all of us have some sort of discrepancy with another type of person or group of people because of our conditioning, and to be willing to see what that is, and who we feel that way about, and do whatever it takes to resolve that. And knowledge is power. So if there's a certain group of people out there that you're like, those people are bad, or they're less than me, or anything like that, take some time and start doing some research and maybe get to know people of the group that you don't support or like. And what I will tell you is that you will learn things that can actually change your mind.
So,
yeah.
I feel like we did need to bring this up and have a little conversation around it. So we need to change ourselves. We need to change our relationships for the better. We need to change our communities for the better, our sphere of influence for the better. spread a message of hope and love and inclusion wherever we go and whatever we do. And it is a ripple effect that will be felt in a positive way around the world.
Yes. Okay. Back to the lighter side of life.
Yes. Or take a little breath in.
There's always something to laugh about, right?
Yeah, we're laughing a lot.
This week we've been laughing, and we've been having like jaw-dropping moments.
We
as well.
have.
I've had a jaw-dropping moment,
and
and Jack's had a jaw-dropping moment.
And we definitely need to talk about the jaw-dropping moments.
Yeah.
Well, I think let's start with, we did have a listener question that I would love to speak to. It was a fantastic question. We would love to hear your questions. This question was asked by a person that was essentially saying, she said, I feel really solid when it comes to manifesting things in my life and knowing that the universe has my back and that it's right at my fingertips and I can have these things no problem at all. But where she's running into an issue is feeling her irritability towards people in general. And she talks about herself having a shitty attitude towards people. And she said, I feel like if I could just live alone on an island all by myself, I'd be fine.
Right.
Which I've heard someone else talk about that before.
What are you talking about? Right.
That would be you.
Yes.
And so, but she said, especially the people that she's not really fond of. So I feel like this is a bit of a twofold approach when you come at this question.
Well, and here is what, if you were sitting on the red couch, this is one thing that we would say is, I know that there are, everyone has their stuff. It's like, okay, I really don't like people very much. Say that's where you're coming from. And what I would say is, well, there have to be some people that you really enjoy in life. And those are the people that feel good when you're around them. And we always tell people to set your intention for every kind of thing you want. So if there are people in your life that you don't really care to be around, it's time to get really clear on what kind of people you want to be around and set your intention for that. But sometimes we have to clear some things. And we're going to be talking about this a lot today, actually, about associations that we all have words that we associate or meanings that we associate with different topics, like people. So for this darling woman that asked this question, what are your associations, your negative word associations with people? And ask yourself those questions and write it down and take a look at all the things that you associate with human beings. And it could be a pain in the ass. They're lazy, they're complaining, they're this, or this. It's really good to get clear on that, because once you realize how you see people, that's when you can really clear those words out of your thought process and work with the intention of the universe and just saying, okay, what I would really like is people that are compassionate and patient and kind. Those are the kinds of people I would like to attract now into my life. And I'd like to release the other relationships that have these negative things in it. And that, that's what we do on the red couch.
Right.
I'll let Jack.
And from another angle, even setting an intention to see the good in each person. Maybe you're somebody that works with a lot of people each day. I know you do. And this person does she has a lot of people coming through her business. And you can't always be picky and choosy necessarily about every single person, but the universe can assist you to actually see something about them that is good or feels good, or something you may not have noticed, or a way of seeing them that you've not experienced before. And that's another powerful experience that you will notice a change when you ask the universe.
And I think she had said also that therapists or whatever have told her that it's because of an anxiety disorder that she feels this way about people, but she doesn't buy that. And I think that's wise of her to recognize within herself, like, yeah, I don't think that's what it is. I think there's something different. And it really is the associations of what you have with other people that keep your brain in a place of not appreciating certain things about certain people. And we're actually in this podcast going to go into more depth with what word associations actually mean and how the brain works with us.
Yeah. And, Tiff, we both have talked about when it comes to interpersonal relationship stuff, shit, things, whatever words you want to use, that the universe is a powerful ally in that. Because if Tiff and I ever get in a conflict, I just always ask the universe to help Tiff see why she's wrong. I'm just kidding.
Whatever.
I don't.
Whatever.
I just thought that would be funny.
That is pretty funny.
I don't really do that.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Are you sure you don't do that?
I ask the universe to show me my part, because a lot of times we can't see our own shit because it's right there on our nose. We just can't see it. It's too close to us. We can
smell it, but we can't see it.
So asking the universe, become willing, just put it out there. I am willing to see why I am pissed as shit at all these people that I wish I just had compassion for. Show me. And then write us a little note and tell us what the universe brought to your awareness.
Totally.
We would love that.
It's always kind of shocking though, when you do ask the universe, you know, what your part is. It doesn't usually feel that great when you recognize what's happening.
No, it can be a little disconcerting. But that really comes down to the next part of this podcast, which is our specialty, is clearing the limited thoughts and feelings and fears that are blocking you from being able to love yourself and others in your life and create what you want. And that's in a nutshell. That's what we do all day with ourselves and our clients. We're always working on clearing out the shitty shits so that we can have more of what we want.
Absolutely. So we've had some funny moments. Oh, I do have to share this. And I don't think I mentioned this to Jack before we got on our podcast. We went over to our friend's house on Friday night, just to have some drinks and chat and have good conversation and connection. And what we ended up doing part of the night was turning on YouTube on their big fancy TV and watching some of our past live videos.
Oh, we did. On the 4K TV.
My God.
Okay. Have you ever done a Facebook Live video? I'm asking you, the listener, right now. Have you ever done Facebook? And then have you ever popped it up onto your big screen TV so you could see yourself in living color?
Yeah, bigger than your bigger than your face.
Well, that's what we did. And we had a really good laugh.
We did.
And not only that, actually, it made me want to do another Facebook Live.
It did?
Yeah, we used to do Facebook Lives every other day or so.
Every day
I know we did
for a long time. I think there are 50 videos on there. And there's a lot of good information, but we as human beings are continually, Jack and I are continually evolving. So Jack, you can see Jack's transition. He looks very different now than
it's
the videos. And you can see some of my facial expressions.
And you're rolling your eyes.
I roll my eyes. And it's funny because I can't really control my eye rolling. I know I've talked about this in a podcast before.
She can't.
I can't do it. And I do it even on video. And I laugh all the time and I itch my nose.
Yeah,
you know,
you're
you just
human.
see yourself. And it's like when you're in the public and you're being seen or listened to, you just have to accept that you're not this flawless, perfect goddess or god on a video or a podcast. And it's just like, you know what? This is just being a human being. And we just laughed. I think we were both a little intoxicated, which helped.
Oh, while we were watching the videos.
Oh, actually, I didn't hardly drink that night,
but
I was laughing.
But I actually was quite pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed watching them, even though it felt a little uncomfortable at different times. And I remember thinking when we were recording those videos, how shitty I felt or how great I felt. But when you get on screen and on camera, you're just like, you're there.
Yeah, totally. And it's live. So you have like lots of people watching you while you're doing it.
Yeah, I love podcasts. Yeah. I love podcasting because, you know, we can sit here and it's easier because your face isn't on the video, but we're speaking. Well, for me, it just feels more relaxing because I don't have to fucking look at my face the whole time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like being able to just share and think and talk together in the conversation that we're having. So I think we should talk about Costco and the question that you asked me, which was a very big question. Little did I know that day. This was only a week ago. Last Friday.
Is it only a week?
Yes,
really?
It was after we recorded our podcast last week.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Okay. So we were at Costco and Tiff and I have been doing a lot of work around the associations. What are the negative words?
Okay, maybe we should talk about how that works in the brain before you share.
Sure, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Yeah, so whatever you want to do.
This is what I want to share. And we're just going to move right into the podcast. I'm sure we'll just interject the funny, silly things that we've had happen during the week during this podcast. But you know, okay, I'm just going to share a little bit of an experience with you about my past. And it has to do with things that I associated. So, as growing up, I was in a religion that I just believed in with all of my heart. I just believed that everything in there was true and what I was taught. And I really tried to live according to the rules of the church that I would go to. And that I was taught that that religion is the plan of happiness. Now, I was not a very happy person in a lot of ways. And so I was always trying to follow the rules of my religion so that this plan of happiness would work for me. And of course, the plan of happiness is what all of my family, you know, like aunts and uncles and stuff like that, most of them are in this plan of happiness religion as well. And I wasn't seeing a ton of happies going on in the family.
In yourself or anyone.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has some joyful moments. That's a given. But the plan of happiness, to just really feel happy, it always eluded me. I had so much depression and so much this and so much that the plan of happiness was not working for me. But that was just my belief system. And now I have chosen to opt out of that religious experience and live more of a spiritually centered life than a religious life, which is bringing a lot of happiness into my experience. But we have these associations that we have with any given moment. So, for instance, many people are assume or feel uncomfortable with the idea that the only time we really feel unhappy is if something negative happens to us, right? But there are a lot of people out there with anxiety and depression, and they're like, I don't know why I feel so anxious all the time. And what I want to share with you is our brain is so awesome, everyone. Like, it is so awesome how it works, because you will have a thought, and when you have that thought, your hypothalamus releases a chemical peptide or a chemical concoction. They're called peptides. And those chemicals are released into your bloodstream, and they go to a receptor site somewhere in your body that somewhere on an unconscious level you decided it needs to go. And it can give you those uncomfortable feelings or the really yummy, comfortable feelings. You are a walking chemical reaction. Okay, so whenever you have a thought, it'll be linked to other thoughts that are linked to past experiences. That's why you can wake up in the middle of the night and you can start thinking about something, and all of a sudden you get anxious, or you get sick to your stomach, or you literally start having physical pain because you're having a chemical reaction to a past experience. If you were to take the chemical reaction out and you were to just say, where am I at this moment? You're waking up, everything's fine. And most people are like, well, I'm totally fine at this moment.
Yeah.
So really, it's just these associations that we have with past experiences that are giving us these chemical reactions that either make us feel good or bad. And we're all about teaching you how to create experiences in life that bring in those good vibrating feelings, which is also a chemical reaction. That's why you can go into church and feel like you're having a spiritual feeling, or you can watch a Smith's commercial for Thanksgiving and have the same feeling.
Which is a grocery store.
Yes.
Right.
And like and this is what I noticed with myself, because I've just always been a very spiritual person, and I have felt spiritual things often in my life in different places. I felt it in church. I felt it in nature. I felt it in movies. I have felt it when I listen to music. I have felt it watching commercials about Thanksgiving and family get-togethers from Smith's commercials. Smith's grocery store has the best holiday commercials, and it makes me feel that spiritual feeling inside. And Hallmark movies do the same thing for me. Okay, so what we really want to do is help people find out what their negative associations are with certain topics in their life, so they can clear those, Once you clear those, you can begin to create new associations that are more positive with those topics. So now we're going to move into what happened. So if you ever come and sit on the red couch, we help you find your the things that you associate that don't feel good or happy or make you sad or anxious with topics in life. We teach you how to remove those.
So you don't have the chemical dump.
Yes.
Related to the word.
Yes.
Or the thing you're
And you know what?
about.
When you don't have the negative chemical dumps, which you're always going to have some just because there's trillions of thought tracks or neural pathways of thought that could not be accurate or whatever. But the more you clear out, the less upset, the less sense of dis-ease you feel.
The more connected you feel with the relationships and people in your life.
Yes. And so what we're really talking about today is, the meaning of life. Everyone is searching for meaning. Everyone. And what is it really? And what the meaning of life really is connection.
It's the power of our connection.
Yes.
How deep can we go with another person?
Yes.
It is phenomenal.
So, with our sweet friend that asked this question about why don't I like people, I do know she's a very loving person and she's very gifted in her trade. And I know that she has connections with people that feel good to her. So I think this podcast will be very assistive in just helping her and everyone else listening, for goodness sake, how to get clear on what the negative associations are with certain topics so you can clear those out and then start creating by using your intentions, more of what you want. And one thing that we will say 1,000,000 times, if you ever see us live or you hear us or come in for coaching, we will always talk about the importance of doing things that feel good, having fun and pleasure in life, because it keeps your energy open and ready to receive. It is a frequency and vibration that allows the universe to deliver the things that you are setting your intention for. This is the law of attraction. Your thoughts create your reality. Whatever you're thinking about, you are going to experience it in your life.
Yep.
That's why you can talk to someone in the grocery store and they're like, "Oh, the apocalypse is around the corner. It's the last days."
Or even the eclipse.
Yeah.
There's an association of the full eclipse that's coming here tomorrow, I guess, right? Tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
For us. And some people are just so intensely concerned. Others are so excited. Mm-hmm. Some are like, well, whatever, it's going to happen. We'll be fine.
And so it's like everyone has a different experience. So whatever it is you're looking for in life, you're going to find it. So if you're looking for the end of times,
the apocalypse,
then you're going to find all the signs and symbols to prove to you you're damn right. And if you believe that life is good and peaceful and joyful and abundant, you're going to experience that because your thoughts are literally attracting experiences and people that match what you are thinking.
And most of those thoughts are not even conscious thoughts.
Right.
They're just the underneath thoughts you've been thinking your entire life.
Yes.
And this brings us right to us being at Costco last Friday, having a nice little shopping experience in the afternoon. And Tiff, right as we're getting up to the checkout, she looks at me, she goes, "Oh," because we were talking about word associations and really going deep and thinking about
because it was our date. And it was like, fun. We love to have these conversations. Yeah.
So she said, "What do you associate with marriage?" Now, Tiff and I just got legally married February 24th of this year,
yes.
2017.
Yes.
And it was a monumental day. It was so exciting. We have waited 10 years to have this day. We just had a lot of reasons that we waited. Most of all was just me transitioning my gender, my body to the male body as being a trans man. Didn't really want to have boobs in all of our wedding pictures. So I had top surgery, whatever. So February 24th, we get married. Amazing day. But life is moving along. We're clipping along. And ever since our marriage, Tiff has said, it feels like things have maybe shifted a little. And I am thinking to myself, cannot be us. We are madly in love.
Totally.
Life is amazing. We're creating so many things, but she also is a very intuitive person that reads energy better than anyone I know. And so I was listening to her and wondering, and I just thought, it's probably her. It's probably, isn't that what we all do?
Well, I thought it was me. I thought it was me as well. we were just noticing some changes in we weren't talking as much.
Yeah, we weren't having as many deep conversations.
Yeah, because
you'll hear why. Okay, so she says to me, she goes, so, and I'm walking right up to pay for what we were buying. And she goes, what are your negative associations, word associations with the word marriage? And you know what I did? I instantly deflected. And I said, well, what are yours? Just like that.
And I was like, oh.
Could you hear that tone in my voice? Because that's what I did.
Yeah, that was really interesting because I said, babe, your energy just shifted huge and you're deflecting and I am not buying into it. So you answer this question. He's like, well, you answer. I said, I'm not answering it right now. I asked you, so I'd like you to answer it. And it was almost like his chest went out. He got defensive.
This is what happens when we get triggered. You feel like you're fucking want to just punch yourself out. You know, maybe that's me. But it is such an intense thing when you're triggered, when something sets you off.
So
makes you defensive. Yeah. All of your chemicals are dumping. You're getting ready for a fight. You're deflecting. You become an ass.
Okay. So here's something you need to know about the brain. The unconscious part of your brain wants to continually stay the same because it's a safety mechanism. It's like, no, we're going to keep it the same. This is familiar. This is comfortable. It may not feel good, but we know what's coming. So we're not going to change it. So what happens is those thoughts start firing most of the time, you're not even conscious of the very thoughts that come through unless you really sit down and focus. And so I was asking Jack to do the most uncomfortable thing. And, I have to say, this was my jaw-dropping moment because I was totally shocked with what I heard. Totally.
Yeah, it was my jaw-dropping moment too. And it didn't take me but just a few seconds to realize I was completely defensive. I was being a brat.
You weren't being rude or anything.
No, I wasn't rude, but I just felt so angry.
Oh, were you mad at me?
I wasn't. Well, yeah, I guess it would feel like I was mad at you. I just knew I was mad. I think I'm more conscious than knowing I'm mad at you. I was just mad at myself for whatever reason. And so we go out, we get in the car, and I just start spewing out all the words that I associate with marriage. Holy shit. It was a moment of shocker because
now these association words that Jack's going to share, where did this come from? Like, why do you have this?
I have all of these thoughts based on my experiences of growing up in the family, in my life, my own experiences from 0 until here I am 49 years old. So everything I ever saw and associated, I'd make an association with what it meant, right? You see marriage, you see the marriage of your families or people that you know, or you have your own experiences and you start associating it with certain words. There are words that match.
It means something too.
That match. So I started jotting down all the words that were coming to me. And I kept the list because I knew it would be incredibly beneficial for my clearing process, which we're going to explain a little bit how we actually clear it. But I knew that I needed to share it because Tiff and I, we're living our life, our whole life mission with the work that we're doing with you and with our clients is to help you clear out these kinds of things so you can actually have a marriage you love, a relationship you love, a life you love, to be a purpose, living doing a job or a career or a mission that you love. And so here are my words. Get ready. Okay.
Brace yourself.
It's a negative list. The first one is prison. Death sentence. No choice. No freedom. You lose freedom, lose power, emasculated, being nitpicked to death, dead, empty, hollow, not seen, not heard, no space, no love, no sex, no affection, no mutual kindness, unhappiness, ball busted. You lose name, no say, disrespected, nothing of my own, no affection, nagging constantly, no voice, no choice, no rights, disrespected. Good shit. And the fact is, I can't even believe for a second all those words. And when I got really honest and I said, okay, what do I associate? What words do I associate with marriage? It was all negative. And I've been having an experience with Tiff ever since we got married of just feeling a little more nitpicked or nagged or this or that. But every time it would happen, I would just try to shut it off or ignore my feeling about it. Like I would have an experience, and then we had this conversation. I shared with her all the words, and then I did the clearing on it. This is our specialty. We help people clear out the neural firing, the pathway of this thought, so you can have a new experience.
So I just want to reiterate that as you grow up, you you witness things or experience things, and you make up stories about what those things mean. Okay? So when you do that, it becomes a belief. It's your story about your life, and then it is stored away in the unconscious part of the brain. And then when you deal with something like, oh, you get married. I mean, okay, here's the deal. With all of these very strong words that Jack shared, if someone else felt that, they could maybe have problems committing because they don't want this experience. And what you'll do is you'll self-sabotage things that you may really want. But if you have all these beliefs in the back of your brain, you're going to try and prevent your experience from manifesting those things. So you may not get married. Or say it's about money and you're sitting there going, okay, what are my negative word associations with people that have money? Some people might say greedy, snobby,
selfish,
liars, like all kinds of things could come up for you in the negative aspect of it. And because you innately want to be abundant and good and feel happy, if you do have those beliefs, you will self-sabotage when it comes to making money so that you don't become those things.
Selfish.
Yeah. So it's important for you to find out what your associations are so that those things can be cleared. And Jack and I, we have a proprietary process that we take you through that literally removes those neural pathways from the brain so that you begin to attract things that you actually want instead of self-sabotaging and attracting things you don't want into your life. So I'm surprised you married me.
Well, it's because I am completely head over heels in love with you. My love for you is bigger than all of these unconscious associations with the word marriage. But something was happening. Things really were feeling a little bit off. And
I know that as you were sharing this list, because I'm really confident in our marriage, our relationship, we've been together for a long time. And we've created our everything together. I didn't feel any kind of defensiveness like I'm a nitpicking, nagging wife or anything like that, because I know I don't do those things. But your perception could have made up stories that was happening.
That's what I want to talk about. Yeah. That's exactly what was happening. So I did all the clearing work on these words, took it through a process, cleared it all out, and made very firm, clear decisions for myself, the experience I want in our marriage. And it was, so what you said, it was a week ago. So this week I've been having the most amazing, interesting experience. When we were just sitting at breakfast the other day, having the world's best bagels right here in Salt Lake City, Utah, Did a Cafe, have to put a little plug in. I said to Tiff, I said, it just seems so nice. It just feels like you're not, like you're so supportive of me and you just really encourage me, and you aren't, it's like I'm never doing anything wrong. Like you just feel so relaxed. I said, it's so nice. And even then, right when I said it, I thought, oh my God, it's because I cleared my beliefs about marriage that I can actually see the truth of what's actually fucking happening right in front of my face. She wasn't the one nagging. I would construe everything she was saying to match my beliefs about marriage, right? Yes. Because we just got married. Oh my God, it was revelation.
This podcast is so important. I wish everyone on this planet could hear this very one, because this is how our brains work. I love talking about this because you can have all these negative things, but the positive things too are happening. And so if you are a person that sees marriage, now for me, I had to sit and go, okay, what are my negative associations with marriage? And I only had one, and it was getting a divorce because of infidelity. So I cleared that out, and I don't have a real strong emotional response to it. So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to clear this out so I don't have the thought going anymore. But I just really have a very I've always had a very strong experience in my thought process of marriage to the love of my life, to the person that is my match, like all these amazing things. And that's what I am now living. And of course, because that is what I have been thinking about.
Right on. Okay, this goes even deeper. So not only I was married for 19 years to a man prior to being married to Tiff. And what I remember when I went into that marriage, I had such a strong, before I got married, so young, I got married very young, but I refused. In fact, people would say, when, do you want to get married? I'm like, no, I never want to get married. I never want to get married, and I never wanted to have kids. It was just my flat line. That's what I always said. I felt super strong. I had no idea why I would feel that way about it. I just felt like no way. And I know for a fact that me being transgender as a man in a woman's body, and that was long before I was conscious enough to realize who I am, what's going on with me.
Yeah.
And you look at my words, that I lose my voice, I lose my choice, I'm not seen, I'm not heard. So for me to get married put me into this trajectory of having to be more of a woman than when you're a teen and you're just free and you can do whatever you want. But then suddenly, because I was also raised in a family where you have to have kids, you have to get married young, you have to do these things. This is the culture of the family and religion I was raised in. I was just freaking out about it.
You were.
And I still got married and I did have kids, and I thank God for every one of our kids. Mm-hmm. I love them. I would do it all again that was the only way we could get them here. Boom, it's done. But here we are right now. Tiff and I are married. She is the love of my forever. I love this person with everything that I am. My words can't even express it. I could just sob right now because every time I think about love, this is what I do. And I love our life. I love our marriage. And every time Tiff would bring something up about, things fell a little off, I would freak the fuck out. Mm-hmm. It scared me so bad, but I didn't know what else. I just didn't know until that. And Tiff said the word, and of all the days of my life, I was finally willing to really look at it and get those words with that, all my negative associations with marriage out into my consciousness so I could look at it, clear it out. And oh my God, it's been amazing. So now, Tiff, we have amazing conversations. We've had more.
Such a great week.
Oh my God, it's been so good. We just have talked so much and things feel so much better.
So, we feel that it is relevant to share about our life because of the success that we've achieved in life. And in our relationship, in our business, and with our family, and just creating a joyful experience that, when we're working through things like that, we will share after we get things resolved with the public. We've always done this.
We have.
And it's very helpful because we're all the same in so many ways. We all experience similar feelings and stresses and excitements and things like that. So, we're very authentic with our relationship and our life with you. And mm-hmm. I feel that it's very important because we're in this boat together. Every one of us are connected.
It is.
And, our marriage was an amazing day. And after we got married, we started having some very interesting exchanges that didn't feel typical mm-hmm. of what was happening before we got married. So I was recognizing it. And I really did think that I had some thought patterns that were getting in the way with me. And so we were having some things. And one of the big things is that if I said something that did trigger Jack, he would interrupt me to prove his point, which is something that we had worked on before we got married. And now we have figured out, and we could see absolutely clearly that what was really happening is his stories, all these words were playing out with the things that I was saying that I wasn't really saying. And he was going to nip it in the bud before it could get too far. God. And that was causing issues.
God.
Because I don't do well being interrupted.
No, nor should anyone. Yeah. Nor does anyone.
And our love for each other and our love for each other, for our practice, for this podcast, for the public,
for you.
Yes, is so important to us that we are willing to do our personal work to live our best life so that we can teach others to do the
Yeah,
same.
to share it with you. So now you have the opportunity to stop for a second and come up with the negative word associations with whatever in your life you may be struggling with right now.
Right.
Get clear on it. Figure out what it is.
Whether it's marriage or
first
kids
step.
or friendship or people or money or health.
The first step is awareness.
It is.
To really get aware and clear about what's going on. And connection is really the meaning of life. So this work is the work. This is the work of life, is to clear out your own personal stories and limitations and negative associations so that you can create more and let the universe help you let the universe assist you.
And these thought associations that are so strong, and the negative ones that are just so strong and powerful, they are the very things that get in our way of connecting with others. Okay. Totally. They get in the way. They are the roadblocks that block us from having that true connection, which is what everybody is wanting, is to find that meaning in life, which is connection. So let's just talk about that meaning of connecting. So, where do you find meaning in your life? Some people find it in going on a vacation with their spouse or their family. Some people find it in this or in that. Jack and I were sitting here saying, okay, where do we find meaning? And you want to share?
Yeah. Last night we go to the party and it was so fun. And there were lots of great people there. The person that threw the party, we just adore this woman. She's a phenomenal person that's very inclusive, very loving. And as we were thinking this morning when we woke up hungover as hell, at least I was, and thinking about the party and just talking about our experience there, Tiff and I were just laying in bed and we just thought about it. I had the most, Tiff and I always at parties, this is kind of how it is. We both are talking to different people kind of through the party and, then we come back together. But a lot of times we're both just having our experiences with the people there individually. And man, I learned some things about some of the people there.
I know.
And it increases your love for someone when you understand them better.
Yeah, when you listen, you ask questions, and you can only really listen to someone and ask questions if you feel confident enough in your own life experience. So if you've got all these thoughts moving around of like, people don't like me, I'm not lovable, I'm not sexy enough for this, or I'm not this, or I'm not this, those thoughts can release so much of a chemical release into your body that you can have anxiety when you go out with other people and you cannot focus enough to really connect or actually listen and ask questions. Jack and I now are at a point in life where we can go to a party and we can engage, and I totally dig talking to people. Like I had probably 6 really amazing new connections yesterday. And I was able to really ask questions and listen and look into people's eyes and feel their brilliance, which fills my body with this loving energy of like, we are all brothers and sisters. And the meaning of life for me is absolutely connection.
Everyone is so beautiful.
I know.
So incredible.
It was so awesome.
It is a profound experience, just a profound experience.
And so many of us are looking for those really quick bursts of excitement, like let's go on a trip or let's go do this because it's going to give me that feeling I'm looking for, which is meaning. But really, what good is a vacation if you're not there with someone to enjoy it with?
Right. And think even of the solar eclipse tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Take a moment. Yeah, that's going to come and go. 4 minutes, start to finish. It's done.
Yeah.
But who are you with during the 4 minutes?
Yeah.
Connect with the people that you're around. And make it something meaningful that you all, or to you and that other person, remember. And that's what brings depth and meaning and enjoyment and purpose to life.
As we were talking about it, I was like, okay, what brings meaning into my life? Of course, connection with people, but really it's connection with anything that I'm doing, whether it's me.
Could be your plants.
Okay. So for instance, my plants. And I got really deep about my plants. I'm like, well, let's just talk about the plant. I have plants in our house and my flowers outside during this summer weather. And without the sun, without the soil, without water, and without me, and without the plant itself, that plant would die. there has to be a plant, and then sun, water, soil, and my commitment in this teamship that I'm in with the earth to create a beautiful plant. And it brings me, it's a deep connection for me. I feel very connected to my flowers and my plants. In fact, when I get up in the morning, I go around my house and look at my plants and see their progress every single day. I get so excited
So
about
it brings meaning to your life.
It's a lot of meaning to my life that I'm in a partnership with the elements of the earth in assisting this plant to live its best life.
That's really sweet.
It almost makes me want to cry talking about it. And so I have this experience, and there's just tons of meaning there for me. And it's a very simple thing, but I'm in a place of life where I've cleared out so many of my limiting beliefs and blocks that I don't feel so distracted with anxieties that I can't connect to my flowers. And I want to be able to connect to the simple things of life, because I'm living, in a home. I go to work every day. Like, I do the same things that everyone does, but a lot of people are just like, oh God, I'm going to the grind. Like, life is boring, and I've got to have some vacation, or I've got to have this time or this. And I want more than that. I don't want to be looking for the next big thing. I just want to experience joy in what I'm already doing every day. And I feel like we live a vacation life.
We have created a meaningful life. We consciously choose our life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking about you and your plants and the connection and meaning that it holds for you. And you can feel the palpable feeling is palpable of how much you love your plants. And that love energy is real. And this is the same love energy that we need to find for each other and in the world. So whether we're white or black or any other color in between, like, we're here to love each other. That's it. Like, why are we killing each other? Why don't we just love each other? Life is all about connection.
It is.
And the only thing that makes us disconnect is what we're believing about ourselves and others that make us afraid of our differences.
Right.
And, like, plants are such a simple thing. I mean, it's just such a little thing.
I know.
But it's deep. It gives you depth and meaning in your life. Think of when you walk home and our dog is so in love with us.
I know. Every time we walk in, she runs to greet us.
If you have pets, you understand that feeling of the love that you have and the meaning that those pets bring into your life. It's the little things. It's the connection. It's that real connection that gives you a depth of meaning to your life.
So here's something interesting to think about. If you think about the life of whatever living thing that you're creating or connecting to. For instance, I have an office here in the house where I do a lot of my remote healings and things. We call it the magic room. So I have this beautiful plant in there. Now, this plant is an offshoot of my mother's plant that she has been growing and sharing with many people over the last 40 years. And let me tell you the little story about this plant. This plant, my mother was a single mother, and she would go to businesses and clean businesses at like 4 o'clock in the morning so that she could make enough money to support her family. And one day she goes into an office and opens this closet, and she sees this pot of soil with this stick in it. And she just got a feeling about this little, what looked to be a dead stick, and she just took it home and she watered it. And in a very short period of time, it began to sprout leaves. And it has grown in, like, seriously, I need to take a picture of this and post it somewhere, because this plant is the most hardy, beautiful plant I think I've ever seen.
Stunning. It is. It is.
And now it's up exquisite. In our magic room, and she gave it to us like 4 months ago, and now it's just exploding in life. And I go in there every day, and I swear I just get this burst of joy every time I see it. So, and even with wine, I love wine so much, and because it really enhances the foods that you eat. And I had a new appreciation for wine when I watched a documentary on how wine is made and the struggle that grapes go through to grow so that we have wine. Mm-hmm. Like, I was
Yeah.
It was out of this world. Okay.
Let's go even deeper, right? You're talking about the wine. And I remember watching that documentary and all of the inclement weather. Like sometimes it's drought. Sometimes they get too much rain. Sometimes too much heat. Sometimes it's too cold. And all of those variables give a nuance of flavor to the wine.
Absolutely.
That is our life in a nutshell.
Yes.
Right? All of us. All of us. It's all of the experiences. It's the rain and the hail and the sunshine and the breeze and the cool air and the hot air. And, you know, sometimes it's so crazy rough and other times it feels so good. But all of that brings us to a deeper understanding and connection with ourselves, which then allows us to connect more deeply with others.
Yes. And a human being is the same as a grapevine.
Absolutely.
And, you know, every time I drink a glass of wine at this point, I really connect with what I'm drinking because it has a story. Every bottle of wine has a unique, energetic imprint or story to itself, and you can connect with that. It doesn't matter if you're a cook or a baker, or you love wine, or you love your plants or your animals or people. You can connect, and that is the meaning of life. And until we get those limiting thoughts, those negative word associations with titles or thoughts that we have, until we can get rid of those, we become so distracted that we can't really enjoy what life has to offer. And let me tell you something, life is so extraordinarily, brilliantly beautiful.
It is.
And why do you have your Leinenkugel?
Oh, I know. I brought my watermelon shandy Leinenkugel, Leinenkugel's beer that our awesome bud, Kelly, told me about this beer. She shared it with me. Had to go to Wyoming to buy it, but my God, it was delicious. I know I've talked about Leinenkugels before, but when I'm drinking this beer, so I'm going to tell you my meaning of life, how this beer, how I connect with this beer. So I'm tasting it. The flavor's really good. And it's very, very smooth, kind of bright. It's called watermelon shandy. So it has some fruit, but it's the taste, it's the warmth, amber richness of the wheat.
Oh, you're gonna cry, honey. You're gonna cry.
Because it reminds me of my dad. He was a wheat farmer. Oh boy,
I love you. I love
keeping it real, one tear at a time. But it's just, that's the meaning of life right there. That's joy. This is joyful living. This is when you live deep and rich and you can connect. And it's the little fucking things in your life that make the biggest difference. It's the beer, it's the plant, it's the flowers, it's your dog, it's your partner, it's your clients, your people. It's the solar eclipse, for God's sake, whatever it is, it gets to have meaning in your life if you connect with it.
So our suggestion to you is just take some time with yourself. Write down topics in your life that are important to you and get clear on the negative associations that you have so you can release those. And like Jack has shared many times in our podcast, this is our specialty. We are thought specialists. We teach people how to use their mind to create the life they want by utilizing the law of attraction.
Clearing out
the junk. And it's time for you to do that. And if you ever have even the smallest inkling to come into the red couch or the proverbial red couch and meet with us on Skype using amazing technology that we're so grateful for. We work with people all over the world to help them create a life that feels delicious to them, because that is why we are here, is to experience connection and joy and to create things that feel good to us. If you have any desire at all, please reach out.
Yeah, jump over to our website, tiffandjack.com. tiffandjack.com. You can jump on and figure out how to explore coaching with us or get our free gift. We are serious about helping you have a life you love, a life that's meant to be devoured. Okay. So now let's talk about my jaw-dropping moment, shall we?
Okay.
We talked about Tiff's jaw-dropping moment in Costco and all my negative word associations with marriage. Now let's talk about my jaw-dropping moment. Now I know I'm married to a very powerful woman. She's powerful in her mind. She's powerful in her strength, in her ability, in her clarity, in her wisdom, in her commanding ways. She's a very powerful human. And
Wow.
we had decided we had gone over to visit our little grand nugget, our little grandbaby girl who's 2,
And our daughter, yes.
and Victoria, and just it was great. We just try to do that when we can. It's been a little while for me because I've been working a lot, but we finally went over. We were sitting there having a nice little conversation, and I had on a belt that was kind of, I don't know, it didn't feel comfortable, so I just took my belt off, whatever, while we're talking. And I was holding on to it. And then for some reason, I think the baby probably grabbed it and handed it to Tiff.
Mm-hmm.
So Tiff grabs the belt. And she's sitting there on the couch and she goes, "This is what I want." What? She always stops me.
I have to stop you because, if it includes me, I have to add a little detail.
Okay. I appreciate your details because I'm always bullet points.
So I don't know how we got on the topic, but I was talking about how protective I feel as a mom with our kids. And I just was thinking about anyone that hurts our kids in any way, emotionally, physically, verbally, being unkind to our children. That's probably the thing that will make me go the most ballistic. I turn into such a mother bear. I wouldn't even call myself a bear. I'd call myself a lion because I have feelings of like ultimate protection of my kids. You mess with my kids and you are in big trouble. Okay. So we were talking about it and then I did something that really shocked Jack.
Oh my gosh. So she was just, it felt to be out of the blue, but she picks up the belt and she leans over and slaps it. It's a leather belt.
I said, this is what happens if someone messes with my kids.
And she whacks the belt as hard as you can ever imagine. It was the loudest sound. She slaps it on the floor and the baby was standing just a little ways away. And the baby got so excited. She had this look of such like shock and excitement because she is a curious, interesting little baby. She loves to play scare type of games.
Yeah.
It's her personality.
She is.
So she gets all excited, but it caught Victoria and I totally off guard. And I went, oh, like that. And the baby looked over at me like, oh, is this not good?
She was developing a word association
with grandma whipping the floor with a belt.
Which she totally loved it and then looked at grandpa and went, oh,
is something wrong?
Oh, maybe that wasn't good. Maybe.
So then as the story goes, so then the baby comes over and she grabs the belt. And guess what she does? She starts whipping the floor with the belt.
It was awesome.
And her mom's like, honey, we don't whip things with belts.
Oh dear. I just couldn't stop laughing because so I kind of caught myself off guard because I was
hard.
Honey, I know it scared you.
It was.
What did you say to me today?
I just have never seen the power of the physical output of Tiffany Walker like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, I'm like
jaw dropping.
Yeah, you mess with my kids and this is what happens. And I just whipped the belt on the floor.
Oh, don't make it sound like that. So I whipped the belt on the floor. I just whipped the belt on the floor. Yeah, it was hilarious.
And yeah, I know that really caught you off guard.
It did. It was really powerful. I know that I will never cross her because she has the power.
I have the power to whip it. And now I think I'll probably say from here on out, this is a belt whipping moment.
Oh,
with whatever distresses me. This is a belt whipping moment.
So
that was pretty funny.
It really was.
Yes.
It really, really was. So is there anything else we need to talk about with the meaning of life and getting
I don't think so. I just really want to impress upon our listeners that it's really important for you to find your word associations with topics that are important to you. The good and the bad, but the bad have to be, and when I say good and bad, I want to say things that make you feel delighted or things that make you feel heavy and listless. Those are the things that you're going to want to clear out. And it's really good to get clear on them. I had no idea that Jack had all of these negative associations with marriage. And now that he has cleared them out, our relationship has just jumped to another level. And I didn't know it could be better than it was the week before last.
Mhm.
And now it's just like, wow,
Phenomenal.
I've seen some very big shifts.
Yeah, and it's a natural shift, almost one that I'm not even realizing is happening until we're in the middle of
Yeah, I'm kind of sitting
really
here going,
deep
whoa.
conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't feel triggered. I just feel very present and wanting to hear and learn and understand
No interrupting.
and connect. It's been amazing.
I know. I'm like, wow, you're not interrupting me right now. And you're not triggered. What?
What?
Yeah.
So this week, as you move through your life, pay attention to your associations. Remember that we love you and we are so glad that you're here. Also, think about the great, what's the best thing that happened to you this week? Just stop and think about the very best thing that happened to you this week. And it'll give you a feeling that makes you feel good. In fact, then you can go listen to episode 23 because we talk about gratitude in that episode and how it brings the chemicals that make you feel good into your body.
Yeah, it's last week's episode I think was stellar as well, because we
big deal.
Talked about neuroscientists and what they have proven about the brain and how gratitude and understanding what your feelings are and a bunch of other stuff that'll really help you get clear on things that you can physically do in your life that can enhance that happy feeling. And then of course, taking a look at your associations and getting them out of there. Your negative ones.
So we're so glad that you're here today. If you have any questions for us, please send us an email, info@tiffandjack.com.
We try to answer questions as much as we can. So yeah, any questions at all.
Pay attention to your life and the people that are in it. Love the life you're living and know that we're here to help you do that. And remember, always remember,
eat dessert first.
Because life is meant to be devoured.
Yes, it is.
We're Tiff and Jack, and we will be back.